Murali, Associate Professor in Chemistry, Vivekvardhini PG College, Kottagudem. Today we are discussing about the Sharpless N-selective epoxidation. So here what happens? Only the functionalized alkenes, that means the alkenes having functional group, they are converted into epoxides. So here generally here secondary allyl alcohol is used, alcohols are used, secondary allyl are used, and here the reaction is secondary allyl alcohols are converted into epoxides. The reagent is tertiary butyl hydroperoxide, which acts as oxidizing agent. The catalyst is titanium tetraisopropoxide. This will be taken in small amounts. Here plus diethyl tartrate or minus diethyl tartrate. So these are used as the chiral auxiliaries. By using of these auxiliaries, they control the stereochemistry of the reaction. The product is highly stereoselective, enantioselective, highly enantioselective. Here we can predict what type of product is from the reaction. If you use plus DET, suppose here I am drawing this a planar structure having the double bond and allyl alcohol group here, and here we are using plus DET. Plus DET supplies oxygen from above the plane, thereby oxygen will be added on the above the plane. If you use minus DET, this peroxoxygen will be added from below the plane. You get peroxoxygen with below oxygen, or below its plane. So here by depending on the plus DET or minus DET, we can predict what type of epoxide can be obtained in the reaction. The mechanism is very complicated. Here the catalyst forms a dimer, titanium tetraisopropoxide forms a dimer, and here tertiary butyl hydroperoxide and diethyl tartrate, they all cover the catalyst. You get fully loaded catalyst is formed. Here what happens, if you add allyl alcohol, this contains a double bond two phases. One phase is covered by DET, other phase free for the reaction. Therefore from other phase this tertiary butyl hydroperoxide supplies oxygen to the double bond, thereby you get only 1 enantiomer of the epoxide. This highly stereoselective reaction. So here I given this example. If you use plus DET, what happens? If you use minus DET, what happens? Suppose here this reaction Sharpless epoxy is also used to separate the resin mixture of allylic alcohols. So we are having S enantiomer and R enantiomer. Here S enantiomer. Here what happens if you use minus DET? Then what happens? If you use minus DET, oxygen will be entered onto the double bond from above the plane. But here this on above the plane there is a bulk group, hexyl group is the bulk group is there. Therefore this reaction does not take place. This reaction is very slow, very slow. If you use this isomer R enantiomer, this bulky group is on below the plane, so we are using minus DET. Therefore oxygen will enter from above the plane of double bond. This compound is formed, expected compound is formed very fastly. So here R isomer reacts 100 times faster than S enantiomer. So here even though a compound is formed, but this compound is not at all formed in the reaction. If at all formed, its amount will be very less. So here only, that means if you take S enantiomer or R enantiomer mixture in equal amounts, only R enantiomer reacts fastly with this reagent, whereas S enantiomer is left unreacted. In this way, Sharpless epoxy used to separate the enantiomers from the resin mixture. So here there are problems of examination, MSc examination or CS examinations. I am giving a mnemonic or a trick for this reaction, for this type of reactions. So here I gave you a table: plus RS minus RD plus RLD minus LS. Plus indicates, plus minus indicates the plus DET or minus DET. R indicates right side, L indicates left side, S indicates uh, D indicates dark line, D indicates dashed line, S indicates solid line. S indicates solid line, D capital D indicates dotted line. So here we have to draw. So here you take this example, and here this example you have to turn the molecule so that double bond is on vertical line and OH will be on the top of this vertical line. So I am turning this double bond, this molecule like this. Then what happens is double bond which is on vertical line, and here OH CH2OH is on top of the double bond. It is on left side. So this is left side. We are using plus DET. So plus L left side indicate D means dotted line. Therefore you have to write oxygen on the with the dotted lines, bond with dotted lines. In this way we can solve the problems which are given in examination. In CSIR this is most important. In MS examination also this is important. So I gave you nearly 12 problems or 14 problems in this. You can go through all those things. If you have any doubt you can ask me later. So, yes, next this is Jacobson asymmetric epoxidation. I gave you in the previous reaction, in sharpless epoxidation, alkenes with functional groups they react, they convert into epoxides. Here in Jacobson asymmetric oxidation, alkenes without functional groups, that means unfunctionalized alkenes undergo this type of reaction, epoxidation reaction. Here we are using a manganese complex as a catalyst. This is coordinated with two salicylaldehyde, this salicylaldehyde, two molecules. This is 1,2-diamino cyclohexane. This is chlorine. Okay, so all these things are coordinated with on the manganese, and here we can have RR configuration or SS configuration depending on the arrangement of the cyclohexane molecule. This catalyst is called Jacobson catalyst. Here if you use this catalyst, SS catalyst, SES catalyst, oxygen will be entered from below the plane. If you use RR catalyst, here the configuration RR catalyst like this, this is RR catalyst, then oxygen enters from below the plane of the double bond. So this is most important. Here only cis alkenes undergo this reaction. Jacobson catalyst reaction is used. Jacobson catalyst reaction is used only for epoxidation of cis alkenes, but not trans alkenes. So this is important. So here we have taken here SS catalyst. Oxygen will be added on above the plane. Here this alkene contains this is alkene. This is the catalyst RR catalyst. RR catalyst. Oxygen will be entered from below the plane. So depending on the configuration of catalyst SS or RR, we can predict what type of enantiomer is formed, epoxy enantiomer is formed, the chemical reaction. This is also highly stereoselective reaction. So this reaction is used only for epoxidation of stereoselective epoxidation of unfunctionalized alkenes. Right. So this is the mechanism. This is the mechanism. This is cyclohexane 1,2-diamine cyclohexane moiety. Here tetrabutyl group. All these things are covered with bulk tetrabutyl groups. Therefore, this oxygen obtained from bleach sodium hypochlorite. This oxygen separated from bleach or NaOCl. Then what? This is response for the oxidation reaction. And here what happens? This alkene will be added from this side because other sides they are occupied by bulky groups. They won't allow to enter this alkene part on these sides. So alkene free enters only from this side. Therefore oxygen is applied, will be added from this side only. Therefore you get the N-selective epoxide. So what is the limitation? Limitation is this is not applicable for trans alkenes. So there is only cis alkene under this reaction. trans alkanes cannot undergo this type of reactions. Next. So this is iminium catalyzed Diels-Alder reaction. Generally, Diels-Alder reaction means here a diene and dienophile are present. Both are present under thermal conditions. So they undergo 1,4 addition is a 4n plus 2 pi electron addition cyclation reaction. You got Diels-Alder product. And here, if you want to get the product, you have to place the reactants for a longer time in the sunlight. That means you are heated for a longer time. That means a time consuming process. But if you use a small amount of catalyst like this type of catalyst, this is imidazolidine catalyst. This is a catalyst having this imidazolidine ring. This ring contains two methyl groups. So one above one below the plane. This N methyl group. Here a CH2PH benzyl group. This catalyst is called Macmillan's catalyst. This is most important. This is actually second amine. Here this NH group. Here R2. Here R1 is I gave you star here. Star indicates asymmetric center. Now what happens? Dienophile. This is the dienophile reacts with this chelate catalyst, and you get iminium ion, iminium dienophile. Here, before this, what happens? This dienophile is less reactive. By forming iminium ion, this carbon becomes more reactive. Therefore, this dienophile becomes more reactive. So, how this will again? This stereochemistry is maintained. Stereochemistry is maintained by this catalyst. Back. Yeah. Right. So here this is the catalyst. This is dienophile with a catalyst. This is the double bond. This is the actual double bond. This is reacting center. This double bond contains two phases, psi phase and Re phase. This double bond. So here in this phase, on this phase, this bulky group, this planar ring benzyl group is sheets this phase of the double bond. Other phase is free for the reaction. Therefore, the nucleophile. What is nucleophile here? This type of nucleophile diene. That nucleophile free enters from this side. Thereby, get only one enantiomer. You take for example this diene is treated with this iminium ion. Because of this, what happens? This will be entered from above the plane, and hydrolysis you get this aldehyde group above the plane. Remember, in Diels-Alder reaction, you get only ortho para products, but not meta products. So this is para product we are getting here. Here, similarly, take another example having this here methyl group and here methyl group to 1,3-diene. This also reacts in the presence of Macmillan catalyst, and this is methyl group, this is aldehyde group. So they are present para to each other. So this is from this enters from above the plane, below the plane. This also methyl below the plane, and here the optic purity is more than 90%. Similarly, you can see all these things. And here remember, in Diels-Alder reaction, when cyclodienes are used, then what happens? Bicyclic compounds are formed, and the bicyclic have two types: exo product and endo product. Endo product is more stable because of I gave you this in pericyclic reactions. Because FOMO of the diene, LUMO of the dienophile, they combine and form a transit state. In the transit state, pi-pi interactions are present for endo product. Because of pi-pi interactions, endo product is more stable. Here, see here, this double bond and this all double bond, they are on the same side. So the endo product, this type of substance, endo product is found more than 90% yield. So this is about the iminium catalyzed Diels-Alder reaction. Right. Next topic is enamine asymmetric aldol reactions. This is the aldehyde, this is the carbon compound. I gave you here ketone. This is the carbon compound. This is the right enolate. This is the meta enolate. You can have lithium here, lithium enolate, and this is the enamine. Remember, enamines are more acidic than the carbon compounds. Enamines are less nucleophilic than the carbon compounds. Here what happens? This is the carbon compound that undergoes enolization in enol form, that leads to the second amine like piperidine or pyrrolidine or proline amino acid, then what happens? This water will be removed, you get enamine is formed. That means this carbon compound is getting activated by the formation of enamine. Now that enamine now reacts with the double bond. So here I gave you this structure. This is the transition state, this is the double bond. Here what happens? Steric interaction minimum here. So here lone pair will sit here, the double bond sits here, O become O minus, O become OH. So ultimately I am writing this structure of the product. This is OH. This is on hydrolysis. This double bond is broken. This becomes C double bond OR. Here I gave you this zigzag formula. This is R1CO, R1CO, and this is R3, and here this is the R2 below the plane, the OH is on above the plane, OH is on above the plane, R2 is below the plane. So we get anti, one is above the plane, one is below the plane. So anti, although we are getting this dash is formed more than 90% and the percent. Another example, this is the analyzation, the same substance I have taken here, the same substance we are using here, the catalyst is here, proline, S-proline, amino acid, S-amino acid, similarly is also second amine, so this forms enamine, that enamine now reacts with this aldehyde, so here you can have a trans state, a 6-member ring, cyclic chain conformation, this is Zimmermann trans state. Now what happens? This undergoes reaction, hydrolysis, and you get the product. Again we are getting anti-aldol in higher percent, after purity is more. Similarly, I gave you some more examples. This is aldehyde, this is the same aldehyde. In the presence of S-proline, you are getting this anti-aldol, this aldehyde, another benzaldehyde. In the presence of S-proline, you are getting this anti-aldol. After purity is more than 99%. Right, next. This is a catalytic anisotropy Machiel addition reaction. So this is the nucleophile, this is electrophile, this is nucleophile having electron methionine group. So this becomes reactive methylene group. Here this is the electrophile. Here we are using chiral catalyst. Then what happens? Asymmetric center is created here. This is asymmetric center, chiral center. So here if you use chiral catalyst, only one enantiomer is formed in larger yield. Only one enantiomer, so it is highly selective reaction. So here the catalyst is this. This is the pyridine moiety having asymmetric carbon here. This is asymmetric carbon having two bulky phenyl groups and tetramethyl groups. So this is the chiral catalyst here. Now what happens? This is a nucleophile. This is the nucleophile having active methylene group. This undergoes this reaction. This reacts with this catalyst, undergoes sterilization, and water is removed. Then you get this product. This is just like enamine. So this enamine becomes activated. This enamine activates the electrophile by reacting with it and forms iminium ion. This is the this is the enamine reacting with the electrophile, that is alpha beta unsaturated carbon substance. The nitrogen here you can have here carbon group also. Then what happens? This is formed here. One phase double bond is covered with this bulky group. Here what happens? Nucleophile enters only from the other above the plane, here below the plane. Therefore R2 is entering. This is R2 is entering from below the plane because above the plane this group is there, this bulk group is there. Therefore because of steric hindrance, the other phase of double bond is here blocked by this group. Therefore which on hydrolysis gives this optical active enantiomer. Again catalyst regenerated. So another example here, cyclohexanone. Right.
Next step.
The cyclohexanone enolization gives enol. This enol reacts with catalyst. Here I gave you another different catalyst. It is a quarter ammonium ion, that is diamino compound. and then you get this product, this imine, this enamine. Now this reacts with this alpha phenyl nitro alpha 1 nitrostyrene. This is 1 nitrostyrene. What happens? This is structure of this transition state. So this is the styrene structure. This is the catalyst structure. This is the above the plane. This is below the plane. So the below the plane is covered with the reagent. Therefore, the other plane is free for the reaction. Therefore, reaction takes place. So nucleophile enters from the above the plane. Therefore, this compound activity is more than 90%. Again, catalyst is generated. Here you can use the catalyst, this catalyst or this catalyst. This is a pyridine ring catalyst. This is the diamine pyridine ring catalyst. You can use any one catalyst. You get only one product in larger yield. Here, what happens? Here, there are two substances. One is nucleophile, the other is electrophile. Here, the alpha beta unsaturated compound acts as electrophile, and this another one is nucleophile. This nucleophile gets activated first, activate nucleophile again activates the electrophile, thereby reaction takes very fastly and high more, and because of this catalyst, what happens? One phase development is covered with the catalyst, bulky catalyst, the other phase free for the reaction, therefore the nucleophile enters from the other phase, thereby you are getting only one product, one enantiomer is found. This optical purity is more than 19%, highly stereoselective reaction, highly unselective reaction. This is about the Michael addition reaction. Next. So methods of determination of optical purity. How to determine? Suppose having resin mixture. Resin mixture means it contains equal amounts of dextro and devo isomers, equal amounts of plus and minus isomers. The optical activity of this resin mixture is 0 because the optical radiation caused by plus isomer exact cancel by other minus enantiomer, therefore it is optically inactive. But here in our case, what happens? Some reactions we get not the optical resin mixture, we get that the mixture contains one enantiomer in excess quantity, the other in less quantity. Then how do you determine the polarity the purity of this mixture? There are many methods. One method is there in syllabus, the polarity method. Here what happens? Optical purity is determined. Chiral compound expressed in terms of enantiomeric excess. By using spectroscopy, by using polarimeter, we can determine the optical rotation of the mixture and optical rotation of the pure enantiomer. Then optical purity is equal to 100 E percentage is equal to space rotation of the mixture by saturation of the pure enantiomer into 100, and for using this equation you can calculate the optical purity. And here for major enantiomer, the optical axis, the optical purity is equal to 100 plus E by 2. For minus isomer, 100 minus E by 2. And here we have this polarity method is having some drawbacks, because you have to measure enantiomer, the optical rotation of the substances, very difficult process, and we can't measure accurately. Large amount of sample is required, and this method depends on temperature, concentration, wavelength of the light used, sodium light used, all the things are there, and therefore this is not the advisable method. So another method we will take up. This is the best method, NMR spectroscope method. In this method, we have to use this CSA, chiral solvating agent. This is the chiral solvating. I gave you only one example here. You can see in textbook many examples. Here this is simple example having asymmetric carbon. This is actually ethane, 2 carbon common ethane, ethanol. This is actually ethanol, trifluoro, 2 trifluoro, 1 phenyl ethyl alcohol, ethanol. This is having plus configuration, so plus this configuration. This is called TFPE, trifluorophenyl ethylene, ethanol, trifluorophenyl ethanol. This is having S configuration. We are using one. This is the solvating agent. So what happens? The solvating agent forms diastereomeric solvates, and here using, because of weak interactions between solvate and solute. Say for example, this is a symmetric molecule having carbon with 4 different groups. that is some amino. This is the amino acid. Ester we are having. Now we say we are having resin mixture of this. Then this dissolved in CdCl3. For recording of NMR spectrum, we dissolve this compound CdCl3. Then we are using this plus or TF, TFPE. Then what happens? This solvent, chiral solvent, associates with R enantiomer and also S enantiomer. So RR SS mixture is formed. The transient diastematic mixtures. And now what happens? This is the enantiomer. This is the enantiomer having S configuration. Okay. This what happens? This combines associates with this reagent, with this solvating agent. This is solvating chiral solvating agent. This methyl group is on above the plane. This phenyl group is on above the plane. Both the groups are above the plane on the same side. Therefore, what happens? This the phenyl group sheets the methyl group. Thereby, the signals of methyl group will be shifted to upfield, that is high field, to our right side. We take in the case of SS interaction, this is S isomer, this is R isomer. This here what happens? This methyl group is and phenyl group, they are on opposite side. This phenol does not shield this methyl group. Therefore, the signals of methyl group will be shifted toward downfield. So what happens in the case of resin mixture? In the case of resin mixture, which contain equal amounts of plus and minus isomers, the signals of the two methyl groups will be same height. Here what happens, because of this, one is in excess, the other is less, because of unequal amounts of dextro and levo isomers in this mixture. Then what happens, one methyl group, one isomer having a methyl group signal in height, in a long height, the other in short height. The concentration of the substance, it depends on the height of the signal. The height of the signal directly proportional to concentration. So by measuring the height of the signal of methyl groups of the two in the NMR spectrum, we can decide what is the ratio of the two enantiomers present in the mixture. That we can calculate based on this heights of the signals of methyl groups in the NMR spectrum. We can calculate enantiomeric excess, that is up to feed of the compound. Okay, right. This is enough. Thank you.